on one afternoon. And many of those tribal leaders, in fact, all the tribal leaders that were there, I happen to be honored to be part of that. We did direct questions to the president, and we asked him for specific areas of support. And obviously, the time was limited. We do expect in the future, we ask for additional meetings with the president, not just a one-time meeting once a year, but these meetings with the cabinet secretaries. Those are the people who really affect the Indian programs and the services that are provided to Native Americans. But we ask for that. We ask for support. We ask for meetings with the Office of Management and Budget and other high-level agencies. That's where really we need to be concentrated. So you would love to hear the president address and talk about Native Americans, but it's up to tribal leaders to continue to ask for access to the White House and access to him. I have to say, President Obama he made some commitments to Indian country during his campaign when he was running for president. He's kept his word. He has placed people in strategic positions in his administration, and they're doing a tremendous job.
In the president's message, a lot of it he talked about was, of course, is trying to address the economic security of this country, but about program flexibility. If you heard President Pelosi today, we're asking for the same thing that the president was speaking about in his address 2 days ago. And we actually have developed a report at NCAI that we've shared with the White House. We've had meetings with the White House to talk about some of those areas, the specific areas of program flexibility. So we're hoping that we'll be part of his, part of the work that they're doing within the administration, targeting those areas where without a lot of new money, but with a little bit more government flexibility, our programs will be more efficient.
Anybody else?
Yes.
Dennis Zotai, National Museum of American Indian.
Prayers. In 1 Samuel 12:23, the prophet says, God forbid that I should sin against the Lord in ceasing to pray for you. One writer said, my brother has a right to my prayers. They are regarded as a part of his capital strength. They constitute a part of the forces which were purposed to make him victorious in all the battles of his life. Who do you pray for? You pray for your children? You pray for your relatives? What about your friends? What about missionaries and other spiritual leaders, as well as government and secular leaders? But what about people you don't like? It's harder, isn't it? Can you pray for people you don't particularly care for? You know, sometimes our greatest spiritual victory can come when we learn to pray for those outside our circle of friends, maybe even somebody that has hurt us and we kind of have a struggle with. And then finally, Thanksgiving. You know, Thanksgiving is a really wonderful thing to do after we pray our prayers of supplication. In fact, it's a wonderful thing to do even before we have the answer. You may say, why would I thank God when I've asked for something before I have the answer? Well, because it's a trust factor. We understand that God is able to meet our needs, and we know that even before the answer comes, that he's going to do it. In Hebrews, it says that faith is the substance, the reality of things we hope for, the evidence of things we haven't seen. I'm reminded of a story. It's a fictitious story about a guy that is in the desert and he is just about to die from lack of water. And all of a sudden, he sees another man coming to him with a big bottle of water. Now, he hasn't had the water yet, but he knows that the guy is going to give him some water. And so he is thankful before it actually occurs because he knows the answer is there. And that's exactly the way it is with God. Faith is the reality of things that we haven't really experienced yet because of our trust in God, because of our faith in God. So we can trust God and believe God even before the answer comes. God can give us a thankful heart even in the darkest valleys of our lives. We can always be thankful for what God has already done in our life also. Think about it for just a minute. Think through your life. Think of all of the things that God has done for you over the years. And then, on top of that, thank Him for providing salvation. We have every single reason to be thankful every single day of our lives for our salvation from sin and death. Sir Thomas Buxton wrote these words. He said, "You know the value of prayer. It is precious beyond all price. Never, never neglect it." Probably one of the most important things for all of us is not just talking about prayer, but developing prayer as an essential part of our lives. And I hope as a result of the lesson today that you're coming to understand not only the importance of prayer, because I think probably all of us understand the importance of prayer, but to understand that you should do something about it in terms of creating a disciplined way to develop prayer in your life. It should come from our desire to be in a close relationship with Jesus Christ. It's not just a posture, but rather prayer is an attitude of our heart. And through confession, adoration, supplication, and thanksgiving, we can find meaning and purpose in our lives as we develop a more meaningful prayer relationship and spiritual life. It's essential for every one of us. Prayer can revolutionize your life. I don't know what may be going on in your life. Perhaps you do have a strong prayer life, but if you don't, I really encourage you, start right now. Maybe you've had very little prayer life at all, but you can start today. And as you start, you're going to see remarkable things happening in your life. Prayer can revolutionize your life, and you'll revolutionize your relationship with Jesus Christ. Thanks for joining me today. God bless you, and I look forward to our next journey together.
The roof to go. Kieran.
Suncraft Road.
About it.
Take care of our
So it's kind of made. Here at Hero Rings are $5.99.
3.
It's $5. Museum.
Looking for sources of oil, by the way.
Well, that's all I wanted to get to. And making very strong statements about the Iranian nuclear program. Because, and here's why. Because Chinese and United States interests here are converging. They're converging, and they're converging in this way. It is in neither of our interests to have an unstable situation in the Persian Gulf. So, for example, when the Iranians threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz, this is not a great signal to send to your business partners around the world, right? You know, when you have that kind of rhetoric, of course, we send a very strong message on that, and we have the capability to deal with that, and we successfully sailed the USS Abraham Lincoln back through the
So
strait.
there's no way they can close down the Straits of Hormuz.
Well, they can, I mean, that's a military judgment that I'm not qualified to opine on. They can try to
If they opine on, you would have to have a
but
plan what they do.
But what I can say is this, right? Is that should they try to do that, right? And I think our military folks believe that they can, right? We have the ability to overcome and would do so.
Let me stay with it. For example, Ehud Barak said in an interview in Israel, he's in the defense ministry, that he thinks that the red line is further along than we think it is. In other words, it's further out than we think it is. Did you agree with his conclusion?
Well, I don't want to comment on Mr. Barak's specific comment, but let me say this.
You know exactly what he said.
We work very closely with Mr. Barak and the government of Israel on a range of security issues. Point one. Point two, our view is that what should happen is that the world community, the international community, which is unified now as never been, should continue to confront Iran with pressure. and that we are moving to the next stage of this. That was alluded to. And the next stage of that is to try to force the Iranians to make a smarter choice. What have the Iranian people got out of this game?
Why should you assume they will make a smart choice?
Well, I can't guarantee they'll make a smart choice, which is why the United States is prepared for all contingencies, which is why when the President of the United States says that all options are on the table, that it's our job to ensure that all options really are on the table, and that we have the capabilities and the assets to pursue those options if we have to, and we do. So our point today, we believe that the plan, the approach that has the best chance of success for our policy goal, which is to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon and making a smarter choice in the national interest, is to continue. It's a multi-vector approach. It's the sanctions, it's the political isolation,
It's a covert action.
I don't, I obviously couldn't.
I mean, it's a reality that's
Say
there.
a national security advisor. I'm really not going to have a discussion with you about covert action on internationally broadcast television shows. I won't even do that on your morning show.
Let me say this, I wish you would, obviously, but I do respect the answer very much. But let me just say that for a second. I was at a dinner, and there was a high-ranking Chinese sitting next to me, and I started talking about why Iran, China's going to do with respect to Iran. And he said to me, if you in the United States find an additional source where we can get all the Iran, all that we get from Iran, then maybe we can have a conversation.
As I said, I think that as the Chinese and U.S. interests are becoming more closely aligned, it's because of the interest, the joint interest, in not seeing instability in the Gulf. The joint interest in not seeing the Iranians behave in an aggressive manner. The joint interest in not having causes in the Gulf and in the Arab world and the Muslim world generally, which they are about right now and have been about doing.
Trying to take advantage.
Trying to take advantage of the Arab Spring. They didn't call it the Arab Spring, and they really haven't had much success in talking about it. The narrative of the Arab Spring of nonviolent democratic change, right, is so contrary to the direction of the Iranian government's going.
And the individual.
Yeah, that they've become, since the direction Iran was going, which is a suppression of democratic change and dissent and real politics, and the accumulation of power in the military and security forces in Iran. They're just the opposite of the Arab Spring. But they have tried to take advantage of it. If we go back to China, is that I do think that there will be other suppliers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Rồi mẹ tôi còn mà vài lên ba cái gì vậy tôi casino cũng là vậy anh ông mẹ rồi New Orleans chưa có mặc tiền cái này bây giờ coi mẹ coi đi cái này bây giờ phải tataran